Howdy y'all, and welcome back to another Nitecore store video. My name is Josh, and today we have a much different flashlight comparison, as we're comparing Nitecore's smallest light, the TINI2, so small it can barely focus, as compared to their largest light, the TM39. And so please make sure to like and subscribe, as it really helps out the channel, and let's go ahead and hop right into this comparison. Alright, and let's go ahead and jump right into the specs, no time to wait. The TINI2 has an output of 500 lumens maximum as compared to the TM39, which has a maximum output of 5,200 lumens. The TINI2 has a respectable range of 97 yards, that's almost a football field, but that's way overshadowed by the TM39, which has a range of almost a mile, 1,640 yards. I'm going to put the comprehensive runtimes on screen now. They should be down here in this area. But as you can see, the TINI2 has a fair bit less burn time as compared to the TM39, but that's because the TM39 has a 4-cell system, so not too much of a comparison, but I mean, all in all, they both have pretty decent runtimes. And as for the dimensions, as you can see here, the TM39 completely dwarfs the TINI2. I mean, in all fairness, it is in the name. And that's also going to go for weight, as this is going to be just about 30 ounces, and this is not 30 ounces. The Tiny Monster 39 is IP68 waterproof with 1 meter of impact resistance. However, unfortunately, tiny is not always mighty, as the TINI2 is IP54, meaning that it's only weatherproof, not completely waterproof, with 1 meter of impact resistance. So still pretty good, especially for this size, but again, probably not best to take this scuba diving with you. And now looking at the release date and the asking price of these two lights, the TM39 is 10 times as expensive as the TINI2, or conversely, the TINI2 is 10 times more affordable than the TM39. Now let's talk scenarios for these two lights, and we can start with the TM39. This is a tried and true searchlight. It's very bulky, but it makes up for it in how far it can throw. 16,000, or I guess it would be 1,640 yards of throw. That's almost a mile. It's crazy. And the spill isn't all that bad either. And you get a very round beam shape. It's going to be pretty nice. The runtimes aren't too bad either, especially considering most modern day searchlights opt more for brightness than actual throw, which will eat away a lot at the runtime. And this actually has a decent amount of runtime and a decent amount of brightness as well. It's a very nice middle ground. As well as that, it's surprisingly comfortable to use. I don't have the extended battery handle on it, which will actually give it more runtime. But even just holding it like this, it doesn't get too hot in my hand. And there's going to be a large amount of heat dissipating fins, meaning that this is a very comfortable searchlight to use over an extended period of time. The TINI2 then, if you can see it, I'm sorry, it's very small, is going to be more so geared for EDC. It's very easy to clip onto your keychain, and it has a nice, more diffused beam shape with a decent hotspot, so that way it's applicable across many situations. On paper, this is going to have a fair bit more runtime than the TM39. However, that's coming from the ultra low setting, which I very much enjoy that it has, as it makes it very easy to have just a little bit extra light if you're trying to read something at night and not trying to wake somebody up. And looking at the other runtimes, this is going to have a fair bit less work time than the TM39, but that makes sense, as the TM39 is a searchlight that's supposed to last all night long, as compared to this, which holds charge really well, but in terms of burn time, it's just going to be used intermittently throughout your week, which is what it's designed for. Alright, and now let's compare and contrast what features both of these lights offer. Starting off with the TINI2, it has a built-in lithium-ion battery, so there's no removable port here. However, there is a USB-C recharging port, which is very nice, as everyone has USB-C nowadays, and you know, the ability to recharge your light is awesome. And even though I say everything is USB-C rechargeable nowadays, I guess the TM39 did not get the memo, as it only takes this barrel-style charger down here, which, although it does come included, if the charger breaks, that means you either have to recharge each of the 18650 batteries individually, buy a new charger, or get the extension pack, which also takes a barrel charger. So definitely not my favorite. Although one could argue having the removable 18650 batteries does beat the TINI2's non-removable battery. The accessories that both of these come with also make sense, as the TINI2 comes with this key clasp, so that way you can easily attach it to your keychain and then take it off whenever it's ready to charge it on your nightstand or whatever. And then the TM39 comes with a lanyard and a sling, so that way it's a lot easier to manipulate this amount of weight. But more or less, that's where a lot of the differences end. These have a very similar UI. You press the power button to turn it on, and then you hit the mode button to change the brightness. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And as you can see, they both have a beautiful OLED display, keeping you up to date about the status of both of these lights. They're both very solid, and they almost seem like brothers to me. So what have we learned here today? Every flashlight has its own job and its own specific purpose. And in the words of Gandhi, size doesn't matter, it's how you use it. In general, I would never recommend the TM39 to anyone who doesn't have a massive plot of land, is involved with search and rescue, or just has $400 to burn. It's pretty impractical beyond that, as you can't fit it in a pocket. It's gonna take up a lot of space. It's pretty dang heavy, but it's really good if you have a large swath of land, you love search and rescue, and you have $400 to burn. It fits that niche. However, I would recommend that everyone gets the TINI2. It's perfect for all keychains. It blows my phone flashlight out of the water, and you wouldn't believe how many purposes this serves. If I'm plugging in an HDMI cable behind the TV and it's dark, if my wallet goes under my car seat, if I drop something under my desk at night, if I'm just trying to walk around at night, whether it be outside or inside, this is an incredible amount of light. Having instant access to all the modes I needed to, it's just incredibly practical for this small of a body, and there's really no one who wouldn't benefit from it. And that's not to say that the TM39 doesn't have its own use cases. I mean, I love just waving this around. It's a beam of light that goes basically a mile, and it's big and bulky and it's fun to use. But there tends to be an inverse relationship between the size of a flashlight and the amount of scenarios that it's applicable in. But that's really just going to be my 2 cents on this kind of goofy flashlight comparison. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below how these two lights stack up. Thank you for sticking around here to the end, liking and subscribing. I really hope that you enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one. POV, you open the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones.